We are approaching the halfway point of this NFL season as we are heading into Week 8 with Week 9 being next week, which is the midway point of the season. We're essentially entering the peak of the NFL season because this is where games start to mean a lot more because they have playoff implications, all that extra special stuff. And this is just the best part of the regular season, in my opinion. This is where the NFL becomes truly amazing. The trade deadline is in just a few days. I plan on making a video talking about trades some teams should make. I also just released a video where I talked about and ranked every NFL team this season. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. And as for this video, this is my Week 8 predictions. Nothing special to say. Let's just get into it. Last week, I went 6-7 in my Week 7 predictions, and that has by far been my worst performance of the season. That's the first time I've shot under 50%. So last week was not very kind to me. It's mainly the Bills and 49ers' fault because how do you lose those two games? But speaking of the Bills, they took on the Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football, and as always, I posted my predictions for Thursday Night Football on my community tab. I took the Bills to beat the Buccaneers, and they did that. So we're starting the week off 1-0, and that's always great. But let's get into Sunday's action, starting off with a game that before the season I was very much looking forward to, but now I could not care for the game at all. I'm not even going to watch it, and that is, of course, the Texans versus the Panthers. Before the season, I was looking forward to this game because the idea, the concept of it was so cool. You got the number 1 and number 2 overall picks going up against each other in Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. These two young, rebuilding teams with presumable bright futures going up against each other made for a decent matchup. But now that we're in Week 8, the Panthers fucking suck, and I do not care for this game. Keep in mind, I am a Panthers fan, so I should still be somewhat excited for this game, but Panthers football does nothing to excite me anymore. I'm not even going to spend more time on this one. I'm taking the Texans to beat us, and that's it. Rams versus Cowboys, you see, 2 seasons ago, this would be an absolutely great matchup, but since then, the Rams have become very underwhelming, and you don't really know what you're going to get from them on a week-to-week basis. And they're facing a Cowboys team who, for the most part, has been very good this season. The Cowboys are also coming off of a bye week. They're at home. All signs point to the Cowboys in this one. I'm taking the Cowboys. Vikings versus Packers in a good old NFC North matchup. Hey, the Vikings are kind of hot right now. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They beat the Bears and the 49ers without Justin Jefferson. I've got a reason to believe in this team, especially following last week, and I think they have a good matchup here against the Packers, who aren't very good. The only thing going against the Vikings is it's in Lambeau, but it's not like peak Lambeau during December and January where it's snowing like crazy. We're still in October. I'm taking the Vikings in this one. I believe in Kirk Cousins. Jordan Addison has been playing absolutely phenomenal, and I think the Vikings can make a solid playoff push. Saints vs. Colts, just simply thinking about this game makes me want to throw up. What an ugly game this could be. Listen, as long as the Saints have that amazing defense, it's going to be hard for me to go against them in games like this. So I think as long as the Saints defense can will them through this game and their offense does just enough to give them some comfort, I think the Saints can win this game. This is honestly a must-win game for the Saints if they still want a chance at making the playoffs, because they lose this game, they're sitting at 3-5, and that puts them pretty far back in the race for the NFC South. I do think they will win, though, and get back to 500. Patriots versus Dolphins, I am not fazed by the Patriots' win against the Bills last week. They get one of those every year. I still believe they're not a good team and they won't find much success this year. As for the Dolphins, they're coming off a bad loss to the Eagles last week. And usually, when the Dolphins are coming off a bad loss, they come out the next week and play very well. I expect that to happen in this game. I'm taking the Dolphins over the Patriots. Jets versus Giants in the Battle of New York. When is the last time we saw this game? I genuinely don't remember. This could actually be a pretty fun game. Like I said, the 2 New York teams in MetLife Stadium. I'm sure the atmosphere there is going to be crazy. And the Giants are another team that's been building some momentum recently. They almost beat the Bills 2 weeks ago. They took down the Commanders last week. They've been playing pretty decent with Tyrod Taylor. But the Jets, on the other hand, are coming off of a bye week. They just beat the Eagles 2 weeks ago. And in this matchup, I think the Jets are more equipped for success because they have that elite defense going up against a very lackluster Giants offense. And ultimately, I think that's going to be the deciding factor in this game, which team plays better defense and which team is better coached. And I think the Jets check off both of those boxes. I'm taking the Jets in the Battle of New York. Jaguars versus Steelers. I am still not bought into this Steelers team. I do not believe they're all that good. This team lives and dies by their defense, and in a pretty tough matchup for their defense in this game against the Jaguars, I don't really see the Steelers having much of a chance to pull out this game. I'm taking the Jaguars to win and prove the Steelers are fraudulent. Falcons versus Titans, another disgusting game that I don't even want to think about. I will take the Falcons in this game. I believe the Titans are very close to blowing it all up and trading away a lot of their key players, but the Falcons are kind of on the rise and they might win the NFC South. Give me the Falcons in this game. Eagles versus Commanders. The Eagles just had a very good win against the Dolphins last week, something that I didn't expect. They're looking very good. They're firing on all cylinders. They're arguably the best team in the NFC, and they have a good matchup against the Commanders here. However, the Commanders are seemingly the Eagles' kryptonite. Every time the Eagles play the Commanders, they struggle. Now, I don't expect that to happen in this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does. Either way, I'm still taking the Eagles to win this game. There's no reason they should lose or struggle in this game. Browns versus Seahawks. This is a very interesting one right here. I'm honestly pretty split between these two teams on who I think is going to win, but I lean more Browns just because I really like the Browns defense. They're arguably the best in the NFL. That defense has single-handedly won them games this year against teams like the likes of the 49ers. And in this game, I think there's a great chance we see another great performance from that Browns defense, and it's going to carry them to a win. So I'm taking the Browns to beat the Seahawks. I could see that game going either way, though. Ravens versus Cardinals. This is a layup. Give me the Ravens. No explanation needed. Chiefs versus Broncos. The Chiefs have not lost to the Broncos in, I believe, 8 years, which is absolutely insane. And all streaks like that have to come to an end at some point, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, especially with this Broncos team going up against this Chiefs team that's obviously the NFL's favorite team. So I'm taking the Chiefs to beat the Broncos once again, and it's going to remain like that for the next upcoming years. Bengals versus 49ers. I have a very hot take for this game. I believe the Bengals are going to beat the 49ers. I know, call me insane, but I truly believe it. The 49ers are on a cold streak right now, losing their last 2 games. Games that they shouldn't have lost either. They're also very banged up. Brock Purdy was cleared from concussion protocol, so he will play this game, but that could still be a lingering issue for him. The 49ers will also be missing Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel. 2 huge absences for them, and they're also going up against a Bengals team that has somewhat found their footing. The Bengals are coming off of a bye week, so they're fresh and rested. Joe Burrow is looking better, and he is connecting with his receivers. I truly believe in the Bengals this game, and like I said, I think they're going to pull off the upset. Now, can this backfire against me? Yes, and it probably will. But if the Bengals do win, I look like a genius. I'm taking the Bengals to beat the 49ers. Sunday Night Football, Bears versus Chargers. What the hell are the schedule makers doing? I swear, we've had like 3 good primetime games this season. I understand they can't necessarily predict what teams are going to be good and bad and disappointing before the season starts, but if it's week 8 and both of these teams are not looking good, flex them out of primetime. That being said, this is a must-win game for the Chargers if they still want a chance to make the playoffs. You're going up against a Bears team without Justin Fields. You have to win this game. They win this game, they'll be at 3-4, and if they're able to have a good second half of the season where they only lose like 3 or 4 games, they can be a 9-8, 10-7 team that can get a wild card spot in the playoffs. But if they lose this game and drop to 2-5, they might as well just kiss the season away. Better luck next year. And knowing the Chargers, they'll make it as difficult as possible for them to win this game. But in the end, I do think they will win because they literally have to win. So I'm putting my faith in the Chargers once again. Please don't disappoint me. I beg of you. And then Monday Night Football, Raiders versus Lions. The Lions just got spanked by the Ravens last week. I expect them to come out with some fire in this game against the Raiders and have a very good bounce-back week. I'm taking the Lions to win. Don't have much more to say about that. And that was my Week 8 predictions. Let's hope for a good week of predictions this week. That's all I got to say. Peace.